Every great tradition has its roots in a distant time, and Wing Chun is no exception. Before becoming the style we know today, it was born from the encounter of ancient arts, entrusted to masters and passed down in silence from generation to generation. To understand what it is, we must first ask ourselves, where does it come from? Anyone who approaches the martial arts, whether out of passion, for recreation, or simply out of curiosity, cannot help but immerse themselves, if only for a moment, in their history and their culture. This is not a formal obligation. It is an act of respect. Respect for those who walk before us, for those who preserve these arts at great cost, and for the origins of what we today have the privilege of practicing. One of the deepest roots of our beloved art reaches into the Fujian White Crane, the style of the White Crane. Tradition speaks to us of Fang Qiniang, a legendary figure whom some identify with Emei, a warrior nun of the Shaolin Temple. Whether they are one and the same person or two distinct souls, what endures is their legacy, a vision of combat built on precision, fluidity, and a force that does not shout, but penetrates. Alongside the White Crane, another current flowed in silence, the Emei style, born in the sacred mountains of the region that bears its name. Its founder, Mu Sun, brought to this art a different quality, grounded, profound, capable of uniting power and inner control. This quality derives from a motor expression inspired by the sinuous movement of the snake and the undulating movement of the worm. Two styles, two visions, two souls, destined to meet. We are in the 1700s. From that encounter between Fang Qiniang and Mu Sun, between traditions that continue to live through them, an extraordinary fusion was born. The motor expression of the upper limbs, characteristic of the White Crane style, meets the profound trunk motility of the Emei, which forms its most authentic core. From this meeting, something new emerges. Something that is not simply the sum of its parts, but a higher synthesis. The Xiulin Tao, a single form. From it, in time, three distinct modules were born. Three movements that gave life to the soul of Wing Chun, not merely a collection of techniques, but the first breath of a style that would become legend. Names speak. The Xiulin Tao, born in the 1700s, invites us to train the small details, precision as a foundation. A century later, the first module of Wing Chun carries a similar yet more inward name, Xiu Nim Tao. Small, Xiu, intention, Nim, beginning, Tao. And in the school of Grandmaster Ip Man, who brought this art to the entire world, that name is distilled even further. Little idea. Yet the message remains the same. Lap Nim, establish the intention. Movement is born first in the mind, before it is born in the body. This comparison is not an academic exercise. It is a revelation. The root is shared, and the thread has never been broken. If in the Xiulin Tao these same subjects are treated with even greater depth, to ignore it would mean surrendering an essential part of ourselves. And a true devotee of the art cannot afford to do so. The arts do not live in a vacuum. They live through people, and it is often the storms of history that carry them far. The Taiping Rebellion, known as the Revolt of the Great Peace, shook China to its core. Its purpose, to overthrow the oppression of the Qing dynasty and restore the glory of the Ming. A fire that burned in the hearts of many. The fighters were recruited in the shadows, within the Chinese secret societies known as the Hung Moon. And to move, to spread without being seen, they chose an extraordinary disguise, the red junks. These vessels sailed along the ports, traded, and carried troops of the Chinese opera. But among the actors, fighters were concealed, and with them, the arts. It was in this way that Kung Fu spread along the coastlines, from port to port, from stage to stage. And two styles in particular carried with them the seed of that ancestral tradition, Wing Chun and Wang Chun. twins in the word spring, two arts, two souls, born from the same root, grown along parallel paths, yet destined to meet again and again throughout the course of history. Wing Chun and Wing Chun have influenced one another, enriched each other, like sisters who find themselves reunited after a long journey and recognize one another in a glance. Their names say it all. Wing Chun, hymn of spring. Wing Chun, eternal spring. Almost the same name, almost the same voice. One masculine, the other feminine. Twins, yet distinct. And it is precisely this distinction that we must preserve. To know them for what they truly are, to call them by their true name, is the first act of respect toward their history. Because to confuse them would mean losing a part of what we are. We close with a gesture that is far more than a greeting. In the oldest lineages of Wing Chun, the open left hand meets the closed right fist, and together they move, left, right, center. The same movement that opens the Xulin Tao, the same gesture that once united practitioners bound to the secret societies and the red junks. But the hands also speak an older language. The open hand evokes the moon, Wei. The closed fist evokes the sun, Zhi. United, the two characters form Ming, luminous, radiant, the name of a dynasty, the symbol of an ideal. And there is still more. The open hand symbolizes the 5 lakes, the closed fist the 4 seas. Together they evoke the whole of China, surrounded by its waters, held within its heart, a country to protect, to reclaim. It was the silent cry of those who resisted. Fan Qing Fu Ming, overthrow the Qing, restore the Ming, give us back our country. But that rebellion was not meant to rise only on the battlefield. It had to arise first from the heart, to place intention, nim, in service of a higher purpose, to recover what had been lost. Even within the theater troops of the Red Junks, this message traveled hidden. Yik Kam, who performed female roles in the Chinese opera, carried with him not only the art of the stage, but the secrets of a living, resilient martial tradition. And it is with this gesture that we take our leave today, aware that we have traced only the beginning of a journey spanning centuries, a journey that belongs to all of us. Because to practice Wing Chun Kung Fu means to carry its soul forward, with respect, with memory, with pride.